An old interview with Britney Spears just resurfaced, and it revealed something disturbing about her past.
You seem to get furious when a talk show host comes up with this subject.
The interview happened when Britney was just 17 years old. She talked to Dutch TV presenter Ivo Nee, and what he asked her was insanely inappropriate.
Everyone's talking about it.
What?
Well, your breasts.
Again, Britney was 17 when this happened, and I'm not sure why the interviewer thought that this was an okay question to ask, but it gets worse. Look at Britney's reaction to what Ivo said.
My breasts.
She's smiling, but she's clearly uncomfortable, which is honestly understandable. She's talking to an adult man who thinks this is an okay topic to bring up. Ivo then continues by saying this.
In general, what do you think about breast implants? Just in general.
At the time when this interview came out, there were a lot of rumors going around about Britney having breast implants. That's already pretty creepy. Why were people so obsessed with a little child's chest? But the fact that on top of all that speculation, Britney also had to deal with answering questions like this is just horrible. She did handle it pretty well though.
If that's what you want to do and that would make you happy, then I see nothing wrong with it.
She then said this.
But I haven't done that.
And then she actually called out the media in a really mature way. She said that it was sad that there was so many people who thought she had implants because it made a lot of her younger fans think that maybe they should also change their bodies. Britney had this to say.
But that's not my fault because the press started that.
And then she finished by saying this.
If you want to do that, that's fine, but I personally wouldn't do that.
Okay.
I feel like the way she handled that was seriously impressive, but it's still insane that she even had to deal with something like this in the first place. What's also crazy is that 2 years ago, the interviewer Ivo actually spoke out about this old interview, and the excuse he gave for what happened was honestly unbelievable. He gave a statement to the Dutch news about it, and he basically said that what happened was actually a good thing. Ivo claimed that Britney's team approved the question beforehand. Apparently, they wanted to give Britney the opportunity to react to all the rumors. According to Ivo, Britney was pleased to be able to address this. He said that the atmosphere after the interview was good, and Britney's management were apparently more than happy about how it went down. Ivo even claimed that he watched the whole thing again to be sure that it was as sympathetic as he remembered. And I guess to him, it was all fine. I mean, I get what he was saying, but to me, this really just sounds like a bizarre excuse. I seriously doubt that Britney was pleased to talk about the rumors. She looked very uncomfortable when the topic came up.
My breasts.
And on top of that, I just don't think that Ivo's explanation that she wanted to clear the air makes sense. I mean, think about it. This interview was conducted by a Dutch TV presenter, and it was clearly intended mainly for the Dutch audience. Just based on that, it's clear that this wouldn't be the best platform to address something like this once and for all. How many people actually watched this back in the day? How many people in the US even knew about this interview? It's not like most of Britney's fans are Dutch. So I just don't see why anyone from her team would see this as the perfect opportunity to talk about this. Sure, maybe her management did approve the question, but I'm not convinced that Britney herself was happy about it. And to be honest, even if she was, that doesn't change the fact that the way Ivo asked her about it was just creepy. If he wanted to give her a space to clear things up, he could have brought it up in a much more respectful and serious way, but instead he seemingly tried to be playful, which was just insanely inappropriate because he was literally talking about a child's body. The sad thing about all this is that Britney apparently faced a lot of comments about her chest at the time, and she actually kind of addressed this earlier this year on her Instagram. She shared this black and white photo of herself from years ago, and in the caption she wrote that the photo was from the only shoot she ever did in the woods. Then she claimed that the only thing she remembered from that time was that her stylist told her apparently she was asked what happened to her breasts because they were huge. That is such an inappropriate thing to ask. This was her stylist, someone she worked with. Why did they think that it was okay to just comment on her body like that? Britney apparently told her stylist that she had no idea what happened. But if you think about it, it's not too difficult to imagine what might have happened. She was still pretty young back then, so her body was probably still changing and developing. It's normal that her chest started looking different, and it's creepy that people thought it was acceptable to make up weird rumors about it. What's even worse is that this was clearly something Britney was self-conscious about. In another Instagram post, she said that she actually considered getting breast implants. She admitted that when she was younger, her dad would always tell her that she was fat. On top of that, she was often objectified and exploited, and this constant body shaming and gossiping really affected her. She's seemingly still struggling with her body image to this day, which is just heartbreaking. What's also terrible is that it wasn't just her chest that people felt comfortable speculating about. The interview with Iva wasn't the only time something like that happened. When Britney was 18, she got interviewed by a Norwegian TV presenter, and he asked her about her decision to wait until marriage. He wanted to know if that was a standard that was hard to live up to. Again, what a creepy question, but it gets worse because Britney actually got asked about this a lot. During a press conference for her movie Crossroads, someone asked her this.
I'm just wondering how you feel about all the constant speculation about your virginity.
Britney was again very mature when she responded to that.
I really wish I would have never said anything.
But the journalist just couldn't let it go.
Have there been any changes on that front?
Britney shut the discussion down by saying this.
That's a personal question.
She handled herself really well, but it's still upsetting that she even was asked this in the first place. She was still so young at the time, and honestly, this really wasn't anyone's business but her own. Another awkward question came in 2000 when she was on Swedish TV. She was asked about her Lolita look. Lolita is a book about a man having inappropriate thoughts and relations with an underage girl. It's insane that this reference was brought up when talking about Britney's looks. I mean, what was the interviewer even trying to imply here? Britney was 18 at the time, so technically she wasn't underage anymore, but that doesn't really make it much better. The interviewer then also asked Britney what her parents thought about her look, which was again just really weird. But it wasn't the only time Britney got asked about her parents' opinions on her choices. In 2003, Tucker Carlson interviewed Britney, and he asked her about her kiss with Madonna at the 2003 MTV VMAs. He was being really weird about it. He wanted to know if she'd ever kissed a woman before, and if she'd ever do it again. Britney said that she hadn't done it before and that she wouldn't do it again unless it was with Madonna. Then Tucker brought Britney's parents into the conversation. He wanted to know what her mom thought about the kiss. Britney said that her mom thought it was cool and that she liked the performance. It was pretty obvious that she didn't want to deal with these kinds of questions, but that really just was how she was treated back then. I feel like these days people wouldn't actually ask questions like this. It's crazy how much Britney had to deal with at such a young age. All these professional journalists were crossing the line and disrespecting her boundaries all the time, and there was nothing she could do about it. It's no wonder that she was affected by all this. I think anyone would be. At this point, I really just hope that she doesn't have to deal with anything like this again, and that no other young artists have to go through the same, because the way Britney was treated is just disturbing. Anyway, what do you guys think about all this? What do you think about the Dutch interviewer asking Britney about her breasts? And what do you think about all the other weird questions she's had to deal with? Let me know in the comments below.